What was your is this be serious moment? My wife and I got in an argument. She was acting irrational. Basically she thinks she is a mind reader and thinks anytime I am not in a good mood it's because I am angry with her. So she was angry with me for me having a bad day at work. She said I was always angry with her ABD, she was sick of it and she wanted a divorce and move out. I had like a brief out of body moment where I visualized myself married to another woman, happy, and with kids. So I said then we should get a divorce, not thinking she was serious. She is moving out in mid-June now. I am really looking forward to it. I didn't realize how much I wanted it until she brought it up. When my dad screamed at me for roughly an hour and a half about how he doesn't care about me, how I mean nothing to him and how I'm not his daughter. The next day he asked to borrow money for cigarettes and energy drinks. I'm sorry but this man doesn't deserve to be called a dad. I met some old family friends at my job. I told them that my father had died. One says, well, at least you can have your own life now. I took care of him and no one forced me to. He was my best friend. What a W. I'm sorry for your loss. A few years ago a guest at the restaurant I run thought that her purse had been stolen. She demanded that I lock down the restaurant and search guests and staff. I told her that wasn't plausible, but I would review all of the security cameras and let her know what I find. While we waited for an officer to arrive, her husband and I tried to calm her down, asking when she last had it, did she leave it in the car, etc. When the officer arrived she was still in hysterics, eyeballing everyone who was exiting the restaurant and still demanding our staff be searched. The officer at this point asked her to calm down and compose herself. Her response, would you tell a woman who had just been raped to calm down? The husband, the officer and I all just stared at each other. Ended up looking at the security footage. She never had it with her. It was in the trunk of the car. I was 12/13 and went to see Swan Lake with my grandma. I've been doing ballet since I was 4, so obviously I was really excited. It was the Russian Imperial Ballet Company, so I was sitting in between my grandma and another elderly lady and the two women behind us were talking loudly about a wedding during the first 20 minutes of the show. I eventually just turned around and shushed them, and I have never seen two women turn so red so quickly. Like, why go to a ballet just to talk about weddings? Mine was when we went out drinking with 4 of my friends from college and played Never Have I Ever at a bar. A friend of mine, let's call her B4B, knew something about me that I was very embarrassed about and it made me anxious even thinking about it. B knew these two, so naturally she brings up this very specific thing in the game. Then looks at me directly, making it obvious for everyone at the table that I've in fact done this thing. This hurt me but was not actually my is this be serious moment. It came afterwards, when another friend realized how uncomfortable I was, so to keep the game going and move on from me she did the same thing with B, telling the table something that B has done. Long story short, B flipped out in the middle of the bar, started yelling at my friend for being rude and exposing her to all of us, humiliating her, etc. This might not sound that irrational from her side, but the catch is that we all knew about B's thing because she already told us and other classmates about it numerous times, whereas with mine she was the only person who knew. Needless to say we are no longer friends with B after that night. Yikes, man. Good thing B buzzed off, then. With friends like that your enemies pity you too much to do anything else. My company offers sizable monthly production bonuses. They are to be paid on the second pay period of the following month. I earned the top bonus in March but did not get paid in April. I've been fighting with management for my money. They claim I earned a lower tier bonus, despite evidence to the contrary. They said they changed the bonus structure despite not telling anyone. Skip to last Friday. It's now been over a month of not getting paid. Bonus. I'm still receiving my regular paychecks. A supervisor asked if I had any issues in my department. They mean issues directly tied to production. I said that I was pretty upset about not getting the money I earned. He told me not to let personal matters affect my work. Today, just before leaving, a different supervisor asked why I didn't complete one of my tasks. I said that I was getting extremely frustrated with the money situation. He told me not to let it affect my performance. Let me repeat. He told me not to let the fact that I am not getting paid affect my work. Are these be serious? It's insulting that your supervisors are trying to brush this off as a personal issue that shouldn't affect your productivity, when in reality not being paid fairly is an issue of professionalism that your company is failing. The whole situation sounds frustrating. I hope that you get paid or are able to find another job or something. Back when I was working in retail, I kindly told a lady that her receipt expired and there was no way I could return or exchange her items. She turned around, grabbed a stand of jewelry by the checkout and threw a stand of jewelry at my head and called my manager a fat bee in front of everyone in the store. Luckily I ducked and wasn't hurt. That's also when I said I don't get paid enough for this crap. I quit a couple of months after. I worked for a grocery store, big chain one, probably the first one that comes to mind. I was bagger cart wrangler. There was this one overweight blonde woman, C. Karen, who would come in all time and cause no end of chaos. Examples of her fuckery include buying a £15 turkey. She came in complaining it tasted bad and wanted to return it. She presented a platter with an empty carcass save for one piece of meat on one bone. She bought like a $37 plant, did not water it, showed up with it 1 year and 6 months later, dead as a doornail, demanding a refund. She bought a grill, used 10 gallons of gasoline as fuel, caused an understandable fire explosion, came back with receipts and charred grill, demanding a refund. I could go on. This would be a weekly if not bi-weekly happening. It got to the point where many cashiers would see her enter the store, turn off their light, and leave. Now when I say she made a fuss, I'm not talking your normal I want to speak to your manager type deal. Oh no, she would rant and rave, throw herself on the floor, roll around, throw things, call the police, 87 times that I witnessed. I kept count, and pull out her cell phone filming herself being victimized to report us to the media. She was eventually banned from the store. This took years. I heard stories that she began terrorizing our neighbor branch 7 blocks down the road. I am of THR opinion that if the manager won't ban them, then management can serve them. Frick, I wish we were unionized. I had a girlfriend get furious at me because she discovered my sister was still Facebook friends with a girl I had broken up with years ago. I tried to explain that my sister is a grown woman. We were all in our 30s, and I did not monitor her social media habits, but this didn't help at all. For some reason, this relationship didn't last very long after this. I worked at a popular bakery cafe chain. A woman ordered a salad online with walnuts in it, and then came to the store to pick it up. She immediately opens up the entire bag, looks in the salad and starts yelling at me that she has a son with a nut allergy, that we could have killed him, blah blah blah. She said I specifically wrote in the notes that there was a nut allergy. I take a look at the receipt. Under every item, all ingredients were listed as unedited. There was no note. I smiled politely and remade her salad with no comment, but on the inside I was screaming. Fast forward a week or two. She orders the same thing again and I recognize the name. Only this time I don't put the walnuts in the salad even though she, again, didn't write a note. She comes in, grabs the bag and does the same thing all over again. Quivering with rage as I could see she was getting ready to harass me over some dang nuts again. She pauses as she gets to the salad and sees no nuts. Looks at the receipt, then starts yelling at me for not putting nuts in there because she hadn't asked for them to be taken out. This salad was for me. Remake it now. First time meeting my now fiance's father. Guy and I made some awkward but polite small talk and then the conversation turns to pets, and he braggingly described a time he beat a dog almost to death. Needless to say, the fiance and I'll be spending holidays with my family. My ex was wife at the time, woke up one time while we were sleeping. She starting hitting me, and I mean hard, for no apparent reason. I wake up due to the pain of being punched like crazy and think WTF. What happened? Did I accidentally stick it in while she was asleep? Nope. After about an hour of her being pee off, she finally told me that she had a dream that I slept with someone else and she felt the need to beat me when she woke up. Yay. That was my "is this be serious?" moment. My ex. When I got to the end I had to go back and make sure this is how your post started. I fell out with my mother a year ago. She mailed me all of the receipts from my wedding, which happened in the early 2000s. My husband and I paid for most of the wedding. She upgraded our reception space, which in the end Cost her about $650. Our entire wedding cost under $5k. Whenever she would talk about it, somehow, she had paid for a larger percentage of it and the total amount was more. I have so many stories like that one. I kept the receipts just in case anyone we know thinks this didn't happen. She also included a nice note stating that she's praying for me to be an honorable daughter and apologized to her. The reason we fell out was even crazier. It was in my sophomore year of high school and there was a girl in my history class who thought she was really woke. One day she brings up how maps are often skewed in size to more white countries' continents. Her examples for this were how Africa is often much smaller in scale than it should be. I didn't really care about this claim cause she sounded pretty sure about it and honestly I didn't know if she was right or not. But then she brought up how California is actually larger than Russia and that map makers often mess this up. Now I'm no geographer but I know that is so otherworldly wrong so I assumed she was kidding and just started laughing. She looked at me and got really defensive about it saying it's 100% true. All I could do was blankly stare at her as she rambled on for 5 minutes straight about how California was bigger than Russia. Eventually I had to save her from herself and search it up in front of her. The sizes are something like 160,000 square miles for California and 6.6 million square miles for Russia. One time I ordered a chicken fried steak at a restaurant in which I was currently the only customer. It took an hour to get my food and when I started eating I realized that I had gotten chicken fried chicken. I called the waitress over and explained to her that I had ordered chicken fried steak, which she confirmed was accurate, but had received chicken fried chicken. She stared blankly at me for about 10 seconds and said, "What? You don't like chicken?" I'm usually pretty quick on my feet with a witty comeback but I was literally left speechless for a minute. I finally got the words out to explain to her why I wasn't happy with this mix-up but ended up just leaving. Needless to say I have not been back. I had a customer accuse my place of work of price gouging toilet paper because the package she picked was $5.99. She promptly turned around and spent 4 times that amount on cigarettes. In case you're wondering, we do carry packages of the same size for $2.99 by different brands and .99 rolls. Met this girl in high school. B really said during science stars a little pointy things. Our sun is the only actual sun. Needless to say, the whole class went off on her sorry but yeah we were learning about space that day. Lady threw a fit because I asked her to buy the $2.50 slinky her bratty child broke. Said she was going to press harassment charges. That was months ago. Still no word from the police or an attorney on those charges. I visited my grandparents for the holidays in a northern part of the state. All of our family went together and stayed in their fairly large house for several days. The second day I was there I tried to organize a family game for everyone to play since nobody seemed to be doing much of anything. Nobody wanted to play any of the games I suggested, so my husband and I pulled out our Magic the Gathering cards we had brought and started to play together. My mom approached me in the middle of a game and said, "I can't believe you brought a game like that to a family gathering. You two have isolated yourself from everyone else by choosing to play your nerd game instead of mingle with family. Everyone else was just talking and watching TV. And we did end up getting my sister to join us for a game so I don't know what her problem was." Later that same day I got really tired from running around in the woods with a couple of my family members and decided to take a nap on the couch downstairs. I was awoken by my mom who looked concerned and asked me if I was feeling okay. I told her I was fine, just tired, and she suddenly switched. "It's too bad you came all the way here not to spend any time with your family. We were putting together a game upstairs and everyone was asking where's Raven but we couldn't find you." So basically she got mad at me for playing my own game with my husband when nobody was interested in hanging out with me. But later when I'm tired and trying to sleep everyone decides to play a game together and I'm at fault for not wanting to spend time with family? You couldn't have done anything right. She would have found fault in it regardless. When I was about 13 my mom kicked me out of her house. We had been in a pretty brutal fight. Finally she told me, "Fine then you can get the frick out of my house." I was pretty sick of her at this point. She'd been abusing me, my brother, steal what little our recently deceased grandmother had left us, etc. So I just said fine. I grabbed my stuff and left. I called my father. They had been divorced a long time, and told him what happened and that I was walking to my nearby former elementary school. I asked if he could pick me up there. He said yes. I hung up, but about 5 minutes later my dad called me back saying he had just got a call from the sheriff saying that my mother had reported me as a runaway. So my dad picked me up. We met the sheriff and my mother. I explained all this to the sheriff while my mother told me again and again that what I was saying wasn't true. She even interrupted the sheriff a few times. TLDR. My mother kicked me out, then called the sheriff on me to try to get me back after years of abuse. I haven't seen her in many years now. Worked at a Dunkin' Donuts in the summers in high school and college. Was nearing the end of busy Sunday morning shift when a lady asks me if any of the products harmed panda bears or their habitat. I said I don't know, but probably not. She proceeded to get angry asking why I didn't know. Asked for the manager. When he said no, the donuts are made outside of Hartford and trucked in, and the coffee beans are from South America. She got her coffee and left. Was so dumbfounded. A friend and I recently discovered one of the new PhD students our biomedical science program accepted is anti-vaccination. How? Why would you go into biomedical science if you don't believe it? What is even going on? Back when I was a teenager and paid cash for everything, I would keep a spare change jar and turn it in when it got full. The jar was pretty large, so it was quite literally a big chunk of change. I come back for fall break during my freshman year of college with some change from purchases I made from the airport, and the jar is gone. Okay, well, I looked everywhere for it and then asked mom about its whereabouts. And the conversation went like this. Me. You know that big change jar I had? Mom. Yes. Me. It was nearly full and I can't find it. Mom. Okay. Me. It was going to put this change in it and cash it. Mom. Okay. Me. Do you know where it is? Mom. We're moving and it's heavy, so we had to get rid of it. Me. Okay. So you cashed it? Mom. Yes. Awkward pause. Me. How much was it for? Mom. $150. Me. Neat. Do you have it? Mom. Number. Me. So you just cashed my spare change, spent the $150, and hoped I wouldn't notice? Mom. Getting really irritated and defensive at this point. It was heavy and we're moving. Me. I once had to tell a guy I was working with on a group project twice that his idea was rejected and mine was approved. Both times he was like, where did anyone else say that? I was able to quote messages from multiple different individuals. Later on he complains about how I supposedly arbitrarily changed something in the project and won't add something else in because I didn't like it. It got so bad one of the supervisors had to make an official memo stating that I had acted appropriately, or at least had done nothing majorly wrong. And this guy continues his spiel. He's taking a break from the project. I hope it becomes permanent. Customer. May I speak to colleague? Me. I'm afraid he's on lunch until 1:30. If I can take your number, I can get him to call you back later. Customer. How dare you say that to me? Hangs up. The time in middle school when I told a guy I liked him and he immediately followed up with, I don't date Asians. I'm not Asian, but I find it a bit funny now. What do you mean when you say that? The reason one side of the watermelon is flatter, yellower and a little scarred and dirty is because that's how they grow on the ground. I was working in the produce department of a grocery store 20 plus years ago, and this customer thought watermelons grew on trees. I handed a client a webcam and told her to just plug it in. Her computer would detect it and it'll be an option in Zoom. She points at the power outlet and says, okay, I'll plug it in here. But how does it communicate with the computer? My supervisor threatened to fire me because I took 2 days off with notice, but she forgot. I requested 2 days off in advance and got written approval from her. I came back into the office Wednesday and I'm locked out of my computer. The operations manager thought I ghosted the company and stole the company laptop, as that's what my supervisor told him. I explained the situation to him and he said everything was good. Supervisor speaks to me in the afternoon explaining how she was about to fire me. I told her I already talked to the operations manager who is above her and he has no problem. I also explained how this was her fault for forgetting. She was speechless and refused to apologize for her mistake. Ended up working there for 2 more months and used the ops manager as a reference for a new job. Frick that bee. My husband's ex, who barely sees a child. She's done a lot of stuff. Ridiculous stuff. Harmful stuff. Dangerous stuff. Crazy stuff. There's one thing she does out of everything that instead of upsetting me just confuses the heck out of me. It goes something like this, with slight variations. CBM equals crazy bio mother. CBM. Hey, infamousos. I'm at the store and they have cute outfits on sale. What size should I get for daughter? Me. She's in a size 5 right now, so 5 or 6 if you want her to grow into it. CBM. Okay. Shows up with either a size 3 or an 8. CBM. I wasn't sure what size to get. She does it with clothes and shoes. Asks me what she likes for birthdays, then buys her something completely age inappropriate instead. Asks what foods she likes and buys something way different. I'm actually glad she's ghosted for 8 months because she never once in 5 years used the information she asked me for to make a purchase for the kiddo. Hahaha. Sounds like my mom, except I'll live with her full time. I've heard it's pretty common among narcissistic people. They just can't retain any information that's not about themselves. It's great that your stepdaughter has you as a stable maternal figure. I had the wife of the owner of a pool hall start talking to me about how they like to keep a certain clientele out of their establishment. You know the kind. Loud. Obnoxious. Those people. We just don't want them in here. I'm bald. I shave my head. I'm a white dude. Apparently she took me for some sort of racist skinhead and was testing the waters. I hear ya. More than once I have had a complete stranger give me the old racist comment, nudge nudge wink wink, just because I am a fairly large skinhead. I have had to tell them I do not share their views. Luckily, being a fairly large skinhead, I am bald, so options are very limited. This has virtually always led to a backtrack from them. I was at a 4-way intersection and I was turning right on a red because there was no traffic. The lanes perpendicular to me were still on green. The woman across the intersection from me proceeds to turn left while she is still on red and almost hits me. Then she yells at me for turning right on red while she was turning left on red. When I was in high school, one of my friends had the same birthday as me, but I was a year older. For my 18th birthday, I asked him to have his birthday party on another day so that our mutual friends wouldn't have to choose between the two, and he suggested we throw one big party. I was like, cool, let's do that. And it would have been really fun if his mom hadn't shown up halfway through the party and went on a screaming rant about what a selfish butthole I am and how I had stolen her son's birthday by being born on the same day. Like, she literally demanded I apologize for being born on the same day. Even my friend was like, B, are you serious? This other time she bought this massive book on astrology that had 365 entries, one for every day of the years, and read my friend's horoscope out and was like, that is so you. That described you perfectly. I then pointed out that I had the same birthday, and it didn't describe me at all. And obviously he and I had very different personalities. She got so pissed at me, like she blamed me that her stupid astrology book was stupid. And we were all like, B, are you serious? I was at the gym about to start using a Smith machine when an older woman is pointing at me and angrily talking to another member. I took off my headphones and asked if I could help her. She claimed that she was putting on her exercise gloves and was just about to use the machine, and it was unfair that I was using it because she wanted it. After telling her that she could use it, she demanded that I take off the weights that were on it when I got there. I reluctantly agreed, and as I was taking off the weights, she starts complaining that I'm a kid, 21 YO, and that I should go to the gym at another time during the day, since she works and can only come to the gym in the evenings. Truly the most sour interaction I've ever had with a person. I worked at a movie theater for a couple years. We had a few coin-operated arcade games. If people wanted to break larger bills into coins so that they could play the games, we would happily do that for them. We were not, however, able to do cashback transactions where someone would pay with a credit card and would be given back cash. There was an ATM available inside the building. One day this woman came in with her daughter, probably around 4 or 5 years old. They were having some fun with the games. Then they came up to my register. The mom asked me if she could pay $5 with her card so that I could give her $5 in change. I told her that unfortunately I was unable to do that, and I pointed out the ATM behind her. This woman flips out on me. Really? You're going to tell my daughter that she can't play those games, mind you? Even if I wanted to give her cash back, it wasn't even an option on my register. It would have looked like I stole money out of my till. The thing that really peed me off though, was when the daughter said to her mom, "Mommy, can I play now?" The woman turned to her and said, "No sweetie, this woman, me, isn't gonna let you play the games. Honestly, frick off. Seriously, what are you teaching your daughter?" Around 17 years ago I was ringing this lady up. When I handed her change she counted it and freaked out because I shortchanged her a penny. Literally freaked out like I was robbing her of a penny. I thought it was a joke at first. Mayo. One day my boss asked me to give him one of our office's USB sticks and to put a folder on it named something important. Cool. Super easy, and it will get him out of my hair quickly. A couple days go by, and he asks me to email him the empty folder named something important that was saved on the USB stick, because he had left the stick at his house. I ask why I'm emailing him an empty folder, when I can just name a folder on his desktop something important. No, that won't do. He needs me to email him this folder, not a file, a folder. 4 files that do not exist yet. All because he didn't want to admit to his second in command that he'd left this USB stick at home, and wanted to show he still had this empty folder named something important with him at all times. Fairly sure I blue screamed. This bee is always this serious. I had a 400 level literature class with the unilaterally acknowledged scariest professor in the university. A girl started clipping her nails mid-lecture with little sprockets of nails flying off in every direction, landing on people. It was like 10 solid minutes worth of clipping. Can't remember if she ever made it to her toes. We the other students started to make eye contact in an "are you seeing what I'm seeing" way, and when the whole class agreed that it was fricked up we burst into shocked laughter. Prof stopped the lecture, ignored our explanation, gave us a scolding to make the blood run cold, and kicked the whole class out. I remember walking by a guy looking at TVs with an associate in the department. The guy crouched down, inspected the box the TV was in, looked up at the associate and said, "The price is $300. I'll give you $250 for it." Like you really think at Walmart you can frickin' haggle prices like that? A white lady at work said to me, a black guy, that she couldn't be racist because she would def suck a black man's DK. Sounds like she was making an offer to suck your dong. When the drug appointee of the German government answered a question, "Why is cannabis forbidden in Germany?" with "because it is illegal, period." Last year there was this one girl I knew who had this huge crush on this guy. One day I was helping one of the kids in our class hang up some paintings and the dude my friend liked gave me a compliment like "you're so nice" or something like that. This girl hears this and comes up to me and says he only said that to you because he was mad at me, and she did that with a lot the other girls too. They weren't even dating. At work in a doctor's clinic. We are busy all the time and the doctor isn't on time. Anyway, patient comes in as a walk-in. Was told very clearly that she would have to wait and it could be over an hour. Gets into her exam room and has to wait there for the doctor. I am putting another patient into another exam room and out comes said patient. Patient, where is the doctor? Me. He's just finishing with another patient, shouldn't be too long. Patient comes into the hallway and takes a deep breath. "This is not fair, you treat me terrible. This is Canada, you're supposed to treat me better. You're awful and racist cause I am black." I stood there for 3 seconds having a "B did you just?" Then said, "Yes, this is Canada, but since healthcare is free and you're not paying a goddamn dime, you sit down and wait your freaking turn or leave. Like WTF. My ex cheated on me with 2 of my friends and demanded that I apologize to her for telling people that she cheated on me. She'd been fricking one of my friends for at least a month if not more and getting off with another at parties behind my back. That she lied to me for months and strung me along, giving me ideas of moving in together and getting married and having kids, only to dump me 2 months later. That it seems like she only stayed with me to get the presents for her Christmas, birthday and our anniversary, after which she dumped me for that friend she was fricking. I told her to get bent and never contact me again. Some pregnant woman at MC Donald's thought that her order got switched with mine. This lady ordered 2 Big Macs, 3 sodas and 7 cheeseburgers. I only ordered a quarter pounder, fries, and soda. You have to be a serious dumbass to mix that up. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.